Hey guys, today I'm bringing you another one of my takes on the Blue Eyes deck. As you can see, we are playing Blue Eyes and Mekk Knights. So, like the Blue Eyes Felgrand recipe I uploaded a while back, this deck also just wants to go second, of course, because we are playing Mekk Knights. Swarm the board with a bunch of high attack monsters, make a bunch of rank 8 Xyz monsters, namely the Galaxy Eyes package, and then just blow through your opponent's board and OTK them. This is a not very competitive deck. It's definitely just a fun deck to play with at locals if you and your friends have time in between rounds. And if you just want to play Blue Eyes and you're kind of sick of the standard variants, or if you don't have the money to shell out for the Danger Blue Eyes variant, which, in my opinion, is the best variant of Blue Eyes right now, as it's seen some success at the competitive level. Yeah, but enough of that. Let's get into the deck. We'll start off with the Blue Eyes component, the big dragons. Of course, mandatory 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can't play any less of that. 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. Sometimes I do want to cut this to 2, just because opening it without a way to see this guy is really awkward, and it creates a lot of dead hands, but I still just think playing 3 of this is correct, so 3 for now. 2 copies of Dragon Spirit of White. This is another card that you could definitely just play at 1 of, but I'm a coward and I'm playing Desires, and the second copy, I don't know, I just like it, just because, especially in longer games, the effect to just keep banishing things isn't once per turn. So if you can load your grave with multiple copies of this, and then just have ways to keep summoning them back, with your revival spells or with Azure Eyes, you can just really damage and punish your opponent if they're playing back row. So that's him. He's the last of the Blue Eyes dragons. And then for the last of the big dragons, 2 copies of Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. I really like this card in this deck. It takes some setup to summon, so that's why we're only playing 2. It's probably actually correct just to play 1 of, just because his effect is situational, and it does take time to set up, banishing lights and darks. But as I said, we are playing Desires, and I know, yes, you can search him off of Melody, but I don't want to risk it, especially early game. This is like a mid to late game card. Once you've done all your link plays and your synchros and your Xyz, he's just a extender. You just want to resolve his effect to banish 3 lights, so you summon him and then another level 8 monster from the grave, and that just turns him into a free rank 8 monster. And also, he's just huge on his own. He's 3k. So it's the last of the big dragons. On to the little guys. Of course, mandatory 3 copies, Sage with Eyes of Blue. He'll get you what you need, your light tuners. But since this is a blind second deck, his effect to discard himself to special summon a Blue Eyes monster from the deck is more relevant and is the more used effect, just because that puts a level 8 on field and it puts more attack points on field. So you could play this at 2, but the normal summon baits Ash sometimes, and it helps get to your stones if you need to pitch them for Twin Twisters or Melody or something. And then of course 3 copies of the White Stone of Ancients, really good, especially if you go first. It'll float you into your Blue Eyes in the end phase, and the effect to banish itself, to add back a Blue Eyes monster from grave to hand, is also really relevant, especially with Alternative. So you can banish this, add back a vanilla Blue Eyes, and then summon Alternative. So, and then of course the one of White Stone of Legends. So that wraps up the Blue Eyes component. Onto the spicy Mekk Knight portion of the deck. The reason Mekk Knights are really good in this deck is because the good ones are level 8, they're lights, and they special summon themselves for free. And they self-replace, at least Purple Nightfall and Blue Sky. So you just want to summon level 8 monsters and then just make Xyz plays. That's the goal of this deck. Purple Nightfall, of course, is the best one, so we want to max out at 3. He'll get you to all the other Mekk Knights. Next, we have 2 Blue Sky. He's the second best. On his summon, he will fetch you Mekk Knights from your deck with different names equal to the number of cards your opponent controls in the column he's summoned to. It's important, though, that the Mekk Knights he fetches have to have different names, so if you don't have enough names left in your deck, you can't resolve his effect. So keep that in mind. And then for the last 2 monsters in the deck, 1 copy of Indigo Eclipse and 1 copy of Yellow Star. Indigo, of course, is self-explanatory in the Mekk Knight deck. He just frees up columns so you can keep spamming the board. And then I'm playing Yellow just because it's another name for Blue Sky, and also because this deck does have problems with back row, and he can just help you fix that. Especially if you need to, destroy Floodgate. But yeah, the levels can be kind of awkward, like 7, he's a 7, Blue Sky is a 5, but it's fine. Blue Sky, Yellow Star, and then all your level 1 tuners, those are all your go-to link materials for making like Lymphonicus and Hipposhinin. So you can create more link zones on your board, and then just leave your level 8 so you can start exceasing and overlaying. So it's really good. Ideally, you want to see this first, resolve its effect to get Blue Sky, and then Blue Sky will fetch either the Indigo, the Yellow Star, or another copy of Purple Nightfall, so you can just keep on summoning monsters and overwhelm your opponent. And then for the spells, of course, 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon. It'll get you your alternative, your Blue Eyes, or your Levineer. Helps put things in grave. I don't think I need to explain this. Again, very standard, 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. It's Monster Reborn, but on crack. It'll protect your dragons. I don't think I need to explain that either. Draw power, 3 trade-in. We're playing like 3, 6, 8, 10, 13, and then Indigo. So 14 targets for trade-in. Yeah, play 3. And then, of course, as I said before, double desires. You really need to see combo pieces in this deck. If you don't, you're just going to lose. You can't turn on your engine, so the +1 is welcome. And as I said before, 2 Twin Twisters. It helps put things in grave, and it clears problematic back row. Just be careful with this card, because, of course, we are playing the Mekk Knights. You kind of need your opponent to have cards to set up their columns. So just know when to use this, be smart, think about it. And then for the 1-ofs, you got a lot. 1 for 1, you need to see your eggs, it puts things in grave. And then the 2 dump cards, Foolish, Dragon Shrine. I cut the second Dragon Shrine for the Foolish just so if I open both, I can still use both. And then Monster Reborn and Silver's Cry. We lost Soul Charge, and so this is the replacement. I don't think this deck makes Link monsters consistently enough to warrant playing World Legacy Succession. So Silver's Cry is the next best thing we have, and it's a quick play, so like summoning Dragon Spirit of White on your opponent's turn to like banish a back row is pretty good. So yeah, that's the main deck. Pretty standard stuff here, plus just a small Mekk Knight engine. As I said before, you just want to blind second with this deck. For the extra deck is very standard as well. Let's get these tokens out of the way. For the synchros, of course, 2 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, standard. For the Spirit Dragon targets, Azure Eyes, Moonlight Rose, Spark Dragon. That's it for the synchros. The synchros are just there for if you're forced to go first, and you just, like making an Xyz isn't gonna like profit you, or not profit you, help you out. If you just need some longevity, like Spirit Dragon, it will go into Azure Eyes, and Azure Eyes will help you grind a bit. But we do play some Xyz that will help you go first. So now for the Xyzes, these are the win condition of the deck. These are what you want to be making as soon as possible. So first we start off with Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. This card's absurd going first and second. It sends dragons to their graveyard as cost. So that's insane. It swings multiple times. It's a huge body. And it's good going first too, because you can dump Amorphage, Goliath, and Arcbrave post-siding if you're going first. So, very good. And then for your actual like win condition, the Galaxy Suite, Cypher Dragon, Full Armor Photon Dragon, and Cypher Blade. You want to be making these 3 as soon as possible, because they just will do so much damage to your opponent's board, and they're just massive bodies on their own that will get bigger if you have Hip Pushing and Gang Up. It's usually game if multiple copies of those come out, even if you go through the chain and just get to Blade Dragon. And then for going first, we have focus, please. Oh, Hope Harbinger and Galaxy Photon Lord. Negate spells, negate monsters. This is also really good for ranking up into your other Galaxy Eyes Xyz, because it is a rank 8 Galaxy Eyes name. So, yep. And then for the links, Hip Pushing Ning, this is the one you want to be making every time, because it just makes all your guys so much bigger, and if it just dies, it adds back things, so you can run it into something, add back something like a Mekk Knight or an alternative, and then just keep on continuing from there. And then I'm playing Underclock and Linfornicus, just because they're generics, and sometimes you're in awkward positions where you'll steal something with Cypher Dragon, and then you won't have a way to clear it, because we are in Link format. You won't be able to just overlay Full Armor Photon over your opponent's monster if this is in the extra monster zone. So you just need to make these to like clear the threat and make sure your opponent doesn't get their monster back. And the last link we play is Saryuja Skull Dread. This could be anything. It could be Boral Sword, Borreload, but I don't think this deck needs it since it has so much OTK potential on its own. So yeah, this could be whatever you want. And then the 16th card, the card that didn't quite make the cut, is Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Just because I don't think this card gets enough love. It's really good because you are playing an OTK deck, and if your opponent has like a problematic monster, you can just attack it with this and just banish it. You could cut the Stardust Spark Dragon for this, because Stardust Spark Dragon I think is the worst card in the extra deck, and it doesn't get made. Yeah.